Hello everyone, Mr. Solution here. So on today's episode, we'll be looking at understanding the Bollinger Band trading indicator. As a matter of fact, the Bollinger Band is one of the indicators that has helped me tremendously while carrying out my trading, especially while I am day trading, okay? Because I've said in my previous videos, I'm more or less a day trader. So sometimes I scalp whilst carrying out my day trading activities. All right, so please, should you want to reach me after here, you can chat me up on WhatsApp. I'm always there 24/7, or you can link me up on my Twitter account at cryptosolu. Okay, so let's proceed. So here are the points we'll be looking at. Firstly, we'll be looking at what a Bollinger Band is and how it works. We look at the mistake you should avoid while using the Bollinger Band. We look at how to use Bollinger Band to identify big moves. We look at using Bollinger Bands to better time your entries. And finally, we'll also consider how to use Bollinger Bands to ride massive trends in the market. So these 5 points are what we'll be looking at in the course of this training. So please, a quick disclaimer here. I said you should carry out your independent verification of facts and data. So whatever thing I'm sharing here, I would encourage you to swallow it hook, line, and sinker. Make out time to do your own due diligence. Verify every information you'll be hearing from me here. I am not an expert, okay? So there are some of the information, some of the facts I used to carry out this my research. Some of the data I used to carry out this my research might not be applicable to your own area. So it's always good you backtest whatever information, whatever knowledge you gain from these classes. All right. So, and then secondly, I said I am not a financial advisor. Okay. If you seek financial advice, speak to a professional, of which I am not one. And then finally, you should know that trading is an extremely risky activity. Your trades are your responsibility. So trade at your own risk. Have you known this? Let's proceed. Okay, what is a Bollinger Band? Actually, this is the Bollinger Band. But before we dive deep into what a Bollinger Band is, I want you to understand that Bollinger Band was developed by a man named John Bollinger. So what he did was that he plotted two standard deviations away from the mean. The mean is also known as the middle band, okay? He plotted two standard deviation. This is a standard deviation. This one and this. These are two standard deviations. So he plotted it away from the mean, or also called the middle band. All right, so you might be asking, what is a standard deviation? Of course, it's not a new concept, especially if you did mathematics in your secondary school, okay, or your high school. But standard deviation actually measures, when we talk about standard deviation in the market, or the standard deviation of a particular commodity, we're actually trying to measure the volatility of the market. Okay, the higher the standard deviation, the further apart the market is in terms of price. Okay, so these two things that we are plotted to standard deviation away from this middle band. All right, so what it now means is that since this one is just two, if it was three, if we should have three standard deviation away from this middle band, that means the market will be pretty down overstretched. Okay, it will be very much overstretched. So the higher the standard deviation, the more stretched the market. But then the lower the standard deviation, the closer the market is. All right, so that's just what I want you to understand. Here you can see that the standard deviation is really not that over. It's not really that much huge. Hence, the closeness of the two bands to the middle band. All right, but this place you can see that the market is high, like the volatility was high at this point, hence this overstretching. All right, so like I said, the Bollinger Bands actually has three components. Firstly, we have the upper band. This is the upper band. And then we have the middle band. This is the middle band, also called the 20 moving average, the 20 MA. This is also called the 20-day moving average. This middle band can also serve as a 20-day moving average. All right, and then finally we have the lower band. This is the lower band. All right, so let's proceed. Now, the common mistake you should avoid while using the Bollinger Band. Here I said that you should not make the mistake of shorting because the price is at the upper band. Right? Because most traders, what they usually do is that whenever they are using the Bollinger Bands, they tend to sell when the price has touched the upper bands. Let's look at a pictorial representation, right? As you can see here, this is chain link perpetual futures. All right, I used this is a daily time frame. All right, so you can see here that the market generally is in an uptrend. Okay, this is actually an uptrend. So do not make the mistake of trying to short because the market has reached the upper band. Why? Because we have to consider the nature of the market. What is the trend? Okay, what is the market structure? Like I usually say, and as I equally said in our previous video that the market structure is everything. Price action, market structure, they all play pivotal role to your success. So you should always consider the market structure. If a market is in an uptrend, what you should be doing is that you should be looking for areas where you should be entering. All right. So if I was trading this market, I would be looking for good areas for me to enter. For instance, this is a very good area to enter. This is a very good area to enter, and all that and all that. So when you see that a market is making a series of higher highs and higher lows, that means what we are having is an uptrend. Okay, the market is in a serial uptrend. So, and you don't short when the market is in an uptrend. Okay, so rather you should be looking for good positions or good areas where you should be entering the market. So don't make the mistake of shorting because it has reached the upper band. That's what many traders do. Do not make the mistake of trying to short the market because it has reached the upper band. Because if you can see here, at this point, of course, it touched the upper band. And what happened again? It kept on moving, kept on making a series of high. You can see it. You can see it. Okay. So unless you just want to be, you are not. You are just very comfortable with few pennies. Just want to be taking few pennies from the market. But then, if you look at it generally, holistic, or if you take a holistic look into this, we see that the market has been making a series of high. Okay, it's higher high. Okay, you can see higher highs and then higher lows. Okay, higher high, higher low. So you shouldn't be in a haste to short this market. Rather, you should be looking for good positions to go long. All right, so that's one of the mistakes you shouldn't avoid. Don't make the mistake of shorting because it has reached the upper band. All right, so let's go ahead. Let me erase this so that it doesn't interfere in other areas of our video. All right, so let's proceed. And then I said here that the Bollinger Bands helps you to find explosive moves before they occur. Actually, your profitability as a trader, what differentiates you from, what differentiates you who makes big profits from the market from the person who just makes like $2, $3 is your ability to identify big moves before they occur. All right. For instance, you can't compare your profit when you entered a trade at $1. A trade that later went to like $7. You entered it at $1. You can't compare your profit to somebody that entered it at $5. Okay, so you can see that your profit margin is high. You have a high profit margin and your risk to reward ratio is equally high. Okay, so the knowledge of Bollinger Bands will help you to identify these explosive moves before they occur. How does it do that? Let's look at this. Okay. For instance, you can see here that for a very long time, this is actually Doge. This is Doge coin and Doge Bull. Yeah, lest I forget, the exchange that is supporting this training is none other than FTX exchange. Is one of the good exchanges I've fallen in love with. As a matter of fact, all my trading activities have been taking place in FTS.com exchange. So if you've not had an account with them, or maybe you want to start trading there, please, I would encourage you to register an account there. And whilst registered, you could use my referral ID. That's Mr. Solution. That's my referral ID, Mr. Solution. All right. It's two words, but it's just two words, but all the words are together, all the alphabets are together. Okay, there is no separation between Mr. and Solution. Everything is together. Okay, Mr. Solution, that's my referral ID. All right, so if you want to register an account with them, you can use my referral ID, Mr. Solution. Just one word, Mr. Solution. All right, so thank you to FTS for supporting this. I really appreciate. All right, so let's go right ahead. Okay, here I was saying that if you look at this market, we see that for a very long time it's been consolidating. Okay, it's been ranging. There's really not much enormous move in the market. There's not been such a very big move, except what happened here. Even though it was actually short-lived, what happened here, it actually didn't quite last, and the market started kept on ranging and ranging and ranging. So how the Bollinger Bands help you to identify, how the Bollinger Bands helps you to identify massive move in the market is that once you witness this kind of ranging market, okay, if you see this market that it's been making a series, it's been thinning out, there has been no big move, so to say, not either in the positive or in the negative. Okay, the market has just been ranging and all that, just making a series of like this kind of moves and all that. Just know that the next thing is that there's going to be a breakout. All right, so when you look at it, when you activate the Bollinger Band on the chart, and then you see this kind of thing, all right, we just know that truly that something big is going to occur, a move is going to occur. Okay, so once you see this with the knowledge of Bollinger Bands, you have to prep yourself, you have to prepare yourself for something big. And then if you can remember in our previous video, okay, while I talked about candlesticks, so please, if you've not watched that video, I want you to go down, check the previous videos I did about candlesticks, where I said there are some trades I do not really take. When I see a market going this way, whenever I see a market making this kind of move, I hardly trade it, because I would want to trade, I would want to involve in a trade where I am very sure of what the market is doing. All right, I want to see a sharp move into area of value, like I discussed, I shared with us in the candlesticks trading patterns. All right, I said one of the things I do is that I would always ensure that I identify area of value. I take my move in areas of value. For instance, say you can't really say that this is an area of value, so I usually avoid this. So whenever I witness this in a chart, maybe I put my Bollinger Band and I see this kind of thing, I would have to just know that something big is going to occur very soon. So what I do is that I keep on monitoring it to know where the move is going to occur. For instance, you can see here that after all this series of ranging, and the next thing is that there was a very big move, right? This is actually Doge coin. You can see is Doge, this Doge coin, this Doge bull, right? So you can see the massive move that occurred from here until it kind of corrected a little, right? So that's what Bollinger Bands helps you to do. So once you see that a market has been ranging like this, just know that something else is going to occur, right? That is going a big move is going to occur. So you should prepare yourself, be on the alert, so that you do not miss out when the move occurs. All right. So that's one of the things that Bollinger Bands help you to achieve or to know in a market. All right. So let's to go ahead. All right. Bollinger Band equally helps you to time your entries and your exit. It helps you in timing your entries and your exit. Like I said initially, your profitability depends on how and when you exit the market. As a matter of fact, every market will always end in two conditions: either a big profit, a big loss, a small profit, or a small loss. All right. So every trade will always end in these three conditions. So how yours ends depends on your timing. And then you should know that trading and comedy just have one thing in common. And what do they have in common? What they have in common is timing. All right. Timing is of the essence when it comes to trading and being a comedian. Timing is very, very rudimental. It's a huge determinant of your success, either as a trader or as a comedian. Right? When you are entering the market and when you are exiting, that is the difference between a profit maker and a serial loser in the market. All right. So knowledge of Bollinger Bands help you to know when to take a move or when to back out. All right. How does it do this? We'll look at this in the next chart that follows this. Or you can see here, this is actually a chart. You can see the chart, and you can see here that at this point, this Bollinger Band, at this point that the market actually broke the resistance. In other words, the once resistance became a support zone, right? And then if you check very well, you see that for some time that the market was actually ranging, right? It was ranging from here. You wouldn't really say that this is a very big move, even though yes, you can look at this. But then when you look at the general structure of the Bollinger Band, you see that there really was not that kind of very big move, so to say. Okay, so So you can see here that here at this point, price closed above the resistance. This is the resistance, all right? The resistance, price closing above it. And what happened next? The market broke out, all right? So it kept on making a series of higher, and all that and all that. So this, when you are involved, when you see this kind of charts, when you see this kind of setup, okay, when you see this kind of price action, and then you put your, you install, activate your Bollinger Band, the 20 MA, that's 20-day moving average, also called the middle band, it will be serving as your area of support. As you can see from here, that price dropped from this point up to this very level. Now what happened again? Tested this area of support and resumed movement. Okay, so in this kind of setup, you will see that your area, the 20-day moving average or the middle band, has automatically become your area of support. Okay, so you should be looking to long whenever the market gets to this middle band, or whenever it touches the 20-day moving average. Okay, so that is how the Bollinger Band helps you to know when to enter a trade and when to exit. Okay, so if you were trading here, or let's say I was trading it, I would only be interested in taking my long position whenever the price touches the middle band. And then you should understand something, that it is not in all points. The price didn't touch the middle band at all points. Okay, that's why it's always good for you to know the place you should be longing. All right, so because at this middle band, you see that a whole number of persons will be waiting to go long. There will be many others here, but then if you look at this point, that the price didn't touch it again, didn't touch it here. Okay, the only place it actually touched is significantly, we are here, touched it here. Okay, all these places. Okay, and then touched it just kissed it, and then started moving up. Okay, so like I said earlier, candlestick trading pattern. Please still go back to that video. I talked about how to take an entry when you see this kind of thing. All right, so what you should be doing is that you should ask yourself psychologically, where is the area of value in this chart? Where is the area of value in this chart? All right, ask yourself, where is the area of value in this chart? And you know very well that the area of value is where many traders would be wanting to go long. All right, they'll be wanting to go long in areas of value. For instance, this is the area of value. This 20-day moving average is the area of value. So what it means is that there will be many orders. There will be many buy orders at this point. Okay, for you to ensure that yours is picked, because there are many orders. There is no guarantee or certainty that your own order will be picked. So you just have to put your own order above this very area of value above where other people's orders are. Just take it up a little bit. Please still refer to that video on candlesticks for you to know how to take your entries when you see this kind of setup in the market. All right, so the Bollinger Bands helps you to know where you should be taking your long positions and where you should be taking your exits. From the 20-day moving average, you can long it whenever it gets to the upper band. You might decide to short, but then remember, I said initially that market structure above every other thing. Market structure supersedes every other. If you can see here that from this point, it's been a series of high. Market has been making a series of high. All right, so, and what did I say concerning a market that is making a series of high? I said you shouldn't be in a haste to short. Rather, you should be looking for points to be taking your entry. You should be looking for points to long the trade. You should be looking for points to long the market. All right, so do not be in a haste to short unless you're just comfortable with making few pennies. All right, this is one of the things that Bollinger Bands help you to do or to achieve in your trading. All right, so let's proceed. Let me wipe this thing fastly. All right, so let's go ahead. Okay, this is equally a second case scenario. You can see here that market has been making a series of higher highs. All right, market has been making a series of higher highs, and then see from here it's been a series of higher highs and all that. Okay, so and then it just tested the middle band. If you test the middle band, it will move up. It tested the middle band, moved up, and all that. So your area of value should be this middle band. You'll be only interested in shorting the market when it touches the middle band. Then long it again. When long it, you short it when it touches the middle band, please. You short the market when it touches the middle band, and then wait for it to touch. Please, you short the market when it touches the upper band. all right, then wait for it to test the middle band, then you can long it again, all right. So this is just what has been happening, all right. So that's the same thing I equally said until up onto this very point, or at this very point where the market actually went, now broke the middle band. Just know that the market structure has kind of changed a little bit, all right. So you shouldn't be interested in shorting again at the upper band, but rather you should be long. If you long at the lower band, then short at the middle band. So at this point, just know that market structure has changed, all right. So this is what the knowledge of Bollinger Bands helps you to achieve. Remember, I said this trading is proudly sponsored by Crypto Trading Africa on behalf of FTX Exchange, ftx.com. If you are yet to register an account, please make sure you register your account and kindly use my referral ID, Mr. Solution. This is your way of appreciating me for doing this, okay? Mr. Solution, that's my referral ID. Okay, Mr. Solution, right? That's it. That's my referral ID. I remember the exchange is ftx.com. ftx.com. They have a lot of products there that you can always trade, all right. So it's a very good exchange. I'm falling in love with it, and since I got in touch with them, I've never left them, and I'm not ready to leave them, all right. So please make sure you register there, make sure you have an account so that you can participate in other training videos that will be coming up, all right. So let me erase this, then we'll proceed. So you can see how the knowledge of Bollinger Bands will help you to know your entries and your exits. And then finally, be looking at how to use Bollinger Bands to ride massive trends, right? How to use Bollinger Bands to ride massive trends. Okay, here you can see that this market, the market structure here, the general market structure here is a downtrend. The market is actually on a downtrend. How is it on a downtrend? You can see it's making a series of lower lows and lower highs, okay? Lower lows and lower highs. The high of this is lower than this. The high of this is lower than this, okay? That's just what makes it a downtrend market, all right? The general market structure, the market structure is a downtrend. Remember when we discussed the May formula? Okay, let me change the color of this. When we discussed the May formula, when we discussed May formula, right? Where M is market structure, A is area of value, E is for entry point, and then finally is exit, all right? Still refer to the trading on candlesticks, you will understand these things proper. Okay, so here you can see that the general market structure is what is bearish. The market structure is bearish. This is a bearish market. Whereas the area of value, you can see that the area of value at this point, we have two areas of value. We have the lower band and the middle band. Also, the middle band is also called the 20-day moving average. Yeah, 20 MA, 20-day moving average, and then the middle band. So the ideal thing to do, you short whenever it gets to the middle band, okay, and then. But remember that what we are having here is a downtrend market. So if I was trading this kind of charts and then I see this kind of setup, I wouldn't really be in a haste to long. Okay, I'll be looking for places to short instead of looking for places to long, because the general setup, the general structure of this market is bearish. So I wouldn't be looking for places to long. Rather, I'll be looking for places to short. And where are the ideal places to short? You can see this point. This is a good place to short. This place is a good place to short. Even here, even though it didn't quite touch it, but it's an ideal place to short the market. All right. So Bollinger Bands helps you to identify massive move. You can imagine if you are fortunate, let's just overlook these areas. Okay, if we are fortunate to short this trade at this point, you can see a series of lower highs that happened. That's a very huge profit. Or let's say let's say your leverage, you like times 10, 10x leverage. That's a very big money here. That's a very big money. All right. So that's what the knowledge of Bollinger Bands helps you to do. It helps you to observe, okay, massive move. It helps you to participate in massive move or to make profitable trades. Okay, if you're able to identify this kind of very big move in the market, very big move trend in the market, that's a very huge amount of money for you. All right, so these are the things that the knowledge of Bollinger Bands help you to know. Okay, so let's say you do not know how to put the Bollinger Bands, do not know how it works. Let me quickly walk you through how it works using the FTS exchange. All right, let's look at how it works using the FTS exchange. So we'll proceed to look at FTS. All right, so this is the FTS website. This is, you can see the sleek beauty and all that. You can equally, okay, download the app from Google Store, Play Store, or maybe from the website as well. You could download it from the website, could download it from Play Store if you're using Android, or you could even download it from the Apple Store. All right, so let's look at how to use this Bollinger Band. We're looking at, let's say we want to trade which markets are we going to trade? Which market are we selecting now? Let's say we want to select FTT, right? FTT. Okay, let's look at link Ethereum rather. This is Ethereum charts. Okay, this is Ethereum chart waiting for it to load, and okay, you can see it's loaded. So how do you activate this? Just quickly go to these indicators, right? Type Bollinger Bands. I see Bollinger Bands. The first one, not the second, not the third, the first. Okay, that's your Bollinger Bands, all right? You can see it already on the chart here. You can see it on the chart. You can see the Bollinger Bands on the chart. So we just go right ahead and then use the knowledge of what we shared initially to, okay, carry out your trade, all right? So you can just step out of the market to see what the market has been doing. Just step out of the market to see so this is actually the Bollinger Band. You can see what we discussed. You can see here we said we have the lower band, the middle band, and the upper band. All right, so this is generally how it works. All right, so and then finally I want to us to also have a final look at this. Right, we just have to have a final look at this, right? And then I want to thank you all for making our time to come to this show, and I will see you in the subsequent episode.